Last season, his Gamecocks fought their way to a 23-11 record. Good for number 3 in the SEC pecking order and a flight to March Madness. Odom's Gamers are back, and the SEC Coach of the Year is trying for another run at the top. It's South Carolina and Wofford, and it's next on CSED. And we wish you a very pleasant good evening from the Colonial Center in Columbia, South Carolina, on the campus of the University of South Carolina. Happy New Year to everybody. And as we welcome you inside the building, we hope that we will be your appetizer for your New Year's Eve activities alongside my partner, Lane Odom. I'm Gary Williams, and Lane, tonight, Wofford comes down here with the intention of winning this game. And if they're going to win it, they'll rely heavily on Howard Wilkerson.
Well, they really will. Howard Wilkerson is a terrific low-post player. They're going to put the ball in his hands early and often. He also draws the double team, can kick it out to his shooters, and they make shots from the three-point line.
And, of course, for South Carolina, so much attention is paid to Carlos Powell, and rightfully so. But Trey Kelly is the guy who makes them go.
Trey Kelly's a terrific scorer from the point guard position. He's what we would call a scoring point. But much of South Carolina's success this season is going to hinge on his ability to direct the offense, get other people involved.
Tonight, Wofford comes down here with the intention of winning this basketball game and not just putting on a good show.
Absolutely. They're going to be ready to play tonight, Gary.
Well, and for South Carolina, after a tough loss at Pittsburgh, they need to rebound and go into 05 on a positive note. We got a good one tonight from the Colonial Center. We're glad to have you with us. It's college basketball on CSET, and it's coming up next. We welcome you back to the Colonial Center. We're ready for a little New Year's Eve basketball from Columbia. We'll take a look at the starting lineup here momentarily. The Gamecocks about ready to go. And for the Wofford Terriers, we've got some injury news that we'll get to momentarily. But as we look at this lineup, Howard Wilkerson, Sam Daniels, and a three-guard alignment. And the change there, Lane, Greg Taylor will start tonight. They have started the same lineup in every game, but they suffered some injuries, and Eric Marshall was suffering from the flu. He didn't even make the trip.
Well, they've had great continuity up until this time, and certainly may have it again tonight, but they started, as you said, 8 straight games. They've had the same lineup in. Not many teams around the country can say that right now.
For the Gamecocks, Carlos Powell, they're doing all top scorers. Terrence Kinsey coming off a great game. Brandon Wallace in their 3-forward alignment, and Trey Kelly and Rocky Trice, who will be starting his 3rd game. And he's done a very nice job. He was called upon by Coach Odom a couple games ago, and he's done a very nice job since being inserted in the starting lineup.
Well, they really like his defense, Gary. He's been really aggressive defensively, has terrific instincts.
In South Carolina in the preseason poll, and we've seen, you know, you can have your opinions about polls. I don't think anybody would really argue. However, Tennessee has struggled a little bit. And on the other side, in the Southern Conference, I think a lot of people underestimated Wofford. And we'll talk about some of the things they've done in the non-conference. They were predicted to finish 5th in that division.
Boy, they have really been good, too. They've played a very tough schedule. Their statistics back it up. And you look at Furman, another team in the state who's playing very, very well. College of Charleston, great tradition. Davidson always up there. Had a big win against Missouri.
And we take a look at Coach Dave Odom, the reigning SEC Coach of the Year, who has done a wonderful job since arriving in Columbia of really renewing interest in this program and with this beautiful new building. Folks are getting excited about South Carolina basketball, and he feels like he's very, very close to breaking through and being a consistent factor in this great league every year.
Well, they're picking up steam, but they're doing it the right way. They're doing it slowly. He's building it. he's basically had to build it from not the ground up, but he's had to put together a young team, and he's bringing them along nicely.
The opening tip goes right out of bounds. They're going to award the basketball to the Terriers, and they'll start. We mentioned Taylor getting a start tonight. Greg Taylor, the young man who started his collegiate career at the University of South Carolina. I can't imagine anybody's more excited to play this game than he is.
He's got to be really, really on the edge of his seat right now.
They try immediately to feed the post to Wilkerson. That ball is knocked out of bounds. An outstanding job by Carlos Powell. It'll be interesting to see tonight how much Powell has to deal with Wilkerson, because South Carolina relies so much on him offensively, and he can get tired out. You can see Wilkerson, he has got a man-sized body.
He's a big kid, and I'll tell you what, they tried to go inside right away there.
Powell tries to go to work. Not much doing on the baseline. He's able to save that ball in. He tried to bounce it off of Wilkerson, reclaimed it, and put it out off the glass for the first bucket of the night.
You can see they picked up with pressure right away. After made baskets, they're going to pick up in the full court, and they'll show some kind of press.
Tim Clockerty, our head official tonight, calls Byron Fields on the travel at shoot-around today. One of the things that Coach Odom told us was that they are going to try to turn them over early in this game.
They're going to go after them with pressure, and they've done that all year, and it's really been effective.
Powell again going to work on Wilkerson. That's a matchup we'll watch all night long. We're going to get a quick look at Mike Young in his third year as the head coach, but his 16th season overall as a member of this Wofford staff.
Well, they've got great consistency with him as the head coach. He was an assistant coach for so long. He understands the school, understands the program, and what needs to take place for them to be successful.
There's McKenzie on the runner, barely through the front of the iron. The contrast in styles, these two teams, Wofford averaging over 80 points a game, and South Carolina, one of the lowest scoring teams currently in the SEC. First they'll start conference play next week at Kentucky, barely averaging 60 a game. He is on the baseline. Rocky Trice is going to be whistled for that foul. Tim Clockerty on the foul. The ball's on the floor. And Trice is whistled for a hard luck foul. He's a little shook up.
Well, the ball went inside that time, and you saw Josh Donner come across the floor to double team Wilkerson. It shows you the kind of respect South Carolina has for him.
Fields trying to shake Rocky Trice. They're working over to Howard Wilkerson, who is not bashful. Wilkerson from the elbow is long.
Good man-to-man defense here by South Carolina.
And a very good board by Brandon Wallace. Kelly from the corner for three. He's off the mark, and Rocky Trice. Nobody on the weak side to block him out. And he finishes and shows his athleticism.
Once again in the full court pressure here, South Carolina picking up, trying to speed the game up.
And they almost turn over Taylor again. He's able to save it. And Bourne tries to finish, and what an outstanding block. Carlos Powell, I think he shocked himself. That looked like a bunny. And out of nowhere, Carlos Powell came flying in for that rejection.
Very athletic play.
Wallace misses everything from the baseline. Field shoots it cross court, and Wofford is still yet to scratch, and we're almost 3 minutes in. Good job by Fields to reclaim on the loose ball. Bourne will try it again, and he is long on the three. Wofford is, for a team that has shot the ball so well in their first 10 games, this is a rocky start.
Well, they could be a little nervous right now. I mean, this is an in-state game. They're playing against a big team in South Carolina, big SEC team. Could be a little jitters here early.
Jeff Torr, a senior forward from Forbush, North Carolina, checks in. We mentioned the injuries. Not only is Marshall not on this trip, but Tyler Berg, who's their primary low-post reserve, turned an ankle yesterday in practice. He, too, is not on the trip, so Wofford is shorthanded.
And we'll have to see if South Carolina tries to take advantage of pounding the ball inside.
Trey Kelly will reset with 10 on the clock. And he's going to try to get all the way to the rim. Dumps it off to Wallace, who had an open 8-footer, and he didn't even draw iron. Fields all the way to the rim, too strong.
Not a bad possession that time by South Carolina. They worked their offense. Trey Kelly in charge. They went to the screen and roll late in the possession. They got the shot they wanted, they just didn't make it go down.
We've got some substitutions. Ronaldo Bachman checks in for South Carolina. A young man who expectations very, very high from the coaching staff for this young man. And you talk to head coach Dave Odom, he'll tell you he is their best athlete.
Very athletic. Great instincts on the floor. Really gets to the offensive boards.
Kinsey all the way to the rim, and he's going to get fouled by Sam Daniels. That'll be his first, and he'll go to the line. You know, we saw laying some pressure early from South Carolina. And do you anticipate that we'll see that? I mean, Wofford is yet to make a bucket. But do you think we'll see that primarily on makes, or do you think we'll see a lot of pressure throughout the game, even on misses?
We're going to see pressures on makes. We'll definitely see pressure after free throws and on dead balls. I'd look for man-to-man press here, possibly a run and jump where they set up in their man-to-man defense, and then one guy leaves and they'll try to trap the ball in the backcourt. You'll see some of that after made free throws.
Terrence Kinsey made his first, a 64% free throw shooter, converts on both free throws, and South Carolina again showing some pressure, and Wofford that time easily able to get it across the timeline. Daniels in the low block, back out to Borders, and the Terriers still can't buy one. And Kinsey is trying to get out in transition, doesn't have numbers.
Good patience right now.
Kyle showing his ability to face the basket. Now 8-0 Gamecocks, and they're slapping on that full court pressure.
They're looking to get two traps out of this press. One in the backcourt, and if it advances over half court, they'll try to get another in the corner.
And Sam Daniels, for a big man, he is the guy who takes the most three-point attempts, at least he has through the first 10 games, and he's not able to connect.
Anytime you have a post player that can step outside in the three-point area and shoot the ball, you can really stretch the defense.
Borders knocks the ball away from Bachman, and we're going to have our first timeout. And Wofford goes to this timeout, yet to convert on the offensive end. And one of the reasons, Carlos Powell says, not in my house. Yes. Gotcha. Okay. .55 to go, first half from the Colonial Center, 8-0 South Carolina. And Trey Kelly, we talked about Trey Kelly laying right off the top. And the fact is, this young man's becoming an all-around scorer and playmaker.
He really is, and he has the balance of two. And to this point tonight, he's done a very nice job of controlling the tempo, getting his team into his offense, into their offense. That's a very important thing for now, for right now. At the same time, there are times where we can have to step up and score the ball.
And you mentioned that he is a scoring point, and that's one thing that I know that Coach Odom, to have the luxury of a young man who can not only direct your offense but can hit big shots, as we saw in that little package right there, is a real bonus.
And then when you put Garner on one side of the floor and you put Kinsey on the other.
And Josh Garner, who served a one-game suspension in the South Carolina State game, really responded at Pittsburgh, is in the lineup now. And it's fouled again.
Great vision that time by Brandon Wallace, catching the ball at the high post and looking down to the basket to Carlos Powell, who did a nice job of cutting.
Wofford brings in a couple of substitutions. Drew Gibson, number 33, a freshman guard out of Los Angeles, California. Justin Stevens.
Nice vision there by Brandon, looking down at Carlos, who did a terrific job cutting behind the defense.
South Carolina trying to trap off that sideline inbound. As I mentioned, Justin Stevens, young man who suffered a severe knee injury. Still a lot of guts just coming back and playing collegiate basketball. Wilkerson again, and this time he gets to the rim, but it's almost like there's a lid on that bucket, partner.
Well, I think South Carolina's got to set up a little bit. It's a bit of a chaotic game right now. Not necessarily Wofford's style.
Kinsey off the mark from long range. One thing that we'll watch tonight, in monitoring these minutes, not only has Wofford started the same lineup for 10 games, they really only have two primary subs who play substantial minutes. Stevens launches and he's long, and another rebound, and Wallace comes down with that one, and Garner's trying to run. There's no call as Wallace drove the lane. Wilkerson was trying to draw that charge.
Brandon Wallace had an opportunity to shoot a three-point shot right there. Decided to drive the ball. Probably should have kept his feet when he got into the paint and looked for the open player.
The last thing I think Mike Young anticipated with the way that they've been able to score this year is the fact that we're approaching 7 minutes into this game and they've yet to get on the scoreboard. Gibson again, still too long, and that ball is off Taylor, and South Carolina will take over. John Chappell, a senior from New Berlin, Wisconsin, checks in for the Gamecocks.
It just seems right now Wofford's getting some decent looks at the basket, but they're different kind of looks than they're used to getting. Right now they're in a 1-2-2, three-quarter court trap, showing a little pressure. Dropping back into a zone defense right now.
Trey Kelly looking for the lob to Boston. He catches, and it can't convert on a reverse layup. And Wilkerson comes down with the rebound. Taylor will try again. Too strong. Boston, nice job. He doesn't have numbers. And an attempt to try to pull it back. He double dribbled.
Right there, you don't have the numbers. You need to pull it back, get it to a guard, and then try to move the ball around the perimeter before the defense can get set. But right there, you just didn't have numbers, a bit of a force, which turned into a turnover.
Dave Odom has substituted liberally here early in this game. He's got the luxury with this 10-point lead. Now imagine he probably feels like it should be larger. Gibson, the freshman out of Los Angeles, Adrian Borders, is a phenomenal athlete. We're under 10 on the shot clock. Wilkerson, he was able to find Drew Gibson, who drove the lane and put it up with the left hand. And John Chappell is whistled for his first foul.
Good patience there by Wofford that time. South Carolina was in straight man-to-man. No traps coming out of that time. They showed good patience. They found Gibson cutting to the basket.
Christian, the southpaw, who is a great free throw shooter. He's 93%. He's now 13 of 14 on the season. And he is one of those primary substitutes. He plays about 20 minutes a game, and he might have to go extended minutes tonight. We mentioned right off the top, Eric Marshall and Tyler Berg did not make the trip, and actually Sam Daniels is fortunate that he made the trip. Both Daniels and Berg were injured within 20 minutes of each other yesterday in their final tune-up for this game. Carlos Powell is able to hit Donner, and Josh Donner gets all the way to the rim for his first field goal.
He could have settled for a jump shot right there. Great decision to attack the rim, get a higher percentage shot.
A terrific job by Josh Donner, who forces that turnover. Early on, it has been all Gamecock. 12-2. We got 11:36 to go in the first half from the Colonial Center. Welcome you back. 11:36 to go, first half from Columbia in South Carolina. Early on, jumping on the Wofford Terriers, and a lot of it has to do with the efforts of Carlos Powell, preseason second team All-SEC, and he's gotten off early, Wayne.
He really has. And Trey Kelly, again, I give him credit for finding Powell and others in the offense. But Carlos is a real threat for South Carolina offensively. They've got to continue to look for him.
Already with 6 rebounds, and it's easy to rebound misses, and that's what Wofford has done. They have yet to convert a field goal. They are 0 for 12 from the field, and that has contributed to the number of rebounding opportunities for the Gamecocks, and Powell already with 6, and a rebounding advantage for the Gamecocks of 13-4.
And again, you can attribute most of that to missed shots, but I really believe that Wofford has not gotten comfortable yet against South Carolina's defense.
Chappell, good decision to kick it back out. Trey Kelly found the open man in Gunner. A second chance opportunity, and the Gamecocks take advantage. Josh Gunner, the second time that Gunner has been able to get to the front of the rim.
Well, he's doing a nice job of attacking the rim. That's what he gets a high percentage shot.
And another turnover. Carlos Powell is everywhere.
Wofford City in the zone right now.
Kelly Ruggles trying to find Powell running the baseline. Kicks it across for Trey Kelly for the open three. A little strong. And Adrian Borders falls in that rebound.
There's nothing wrong with that shot. That's a good shot later in the box.
And Howard Wilkerson at the 11:25 mark converts, and that is the first made field goal for the Wofford Terriers.
he looks, they just haven't knocked him down. They need to continue to go to him. He's their horse.
And Wilkerson, it should be noted, he has really played extremely well against the best competition this year. Season high at 28 against Georgia and 23 against Tennessee and Miami, respectively. Greg Taylor thought about a good shot fake.
Once again, went inside. They had to kick it out for the double team game.
Nice job of being able to collect that difficult pass from Byron Fields. Shot clock is at 5, and he thought that Greg Carr was going to roll the basket. Of course, she said it's the home of Bobcat basketball, and there's some games coming up. And you look at that Miami game, Miami has won 13 straight games, so the Bobcats will travel down to take on the Heat. That is tomorrow night at 7:30, and the Cleveland Cavaliers, they were happy to find out that a cheek fracture, a fracture of a cheekbone, that was good news. LeBron James, it appears, might be able to go Monday against the Bobcats.
Well, Wofford really forcing South Carolina to explore the perimeter right now, not allowing them to get the ball inside. Smart play here by Mike Young. Sitting in his zone.
Shot clock is at 3. Rocky Trice buries the 3.
Nothing wrong with that defense by Wofford. Good execution. Nice stick there by Rocky Trice.
Byron Fields drives the lane, and Wallace Corral's another rebound. The Taylor is right there for the steal. Good look inside. Wilkerson wasn't really able to collect, but he was able to draw contact, and he'll go to the line.
Well, Brandon was trying to ignite the fast break. Just lost the handle there and turned it over. Unfortunate for South Carolina. But his intention was good. He's looking up the floor to try to get South Carolina moving before Wofford could set up his own defense.
You know, Mike Young, I know, does not like deficits, but one thing about his basketball team early this season, they have faced double-digit deficits in multiple games and have gone on runs to close halves. 19-2 run at Tennessee, a 23-6 run against Jacksonville State, a 27-8 run against Auburn, and a 20-7 run against Appalachian State. Boy, he'd love to get one of these before the half to feel like he's got his team back into this game.
Well, they've been there before. They were down 15 to Auburn, came back and won the game. They're just going to keep playing. Not going to get discouraged.
Kinsey to Trey Kelly. Good catch by Wallace and trying to go reverse too far underneath the basket. And Wilkerson collects a rebound. He looks like he might get a blow. Adrian Borders from the corner. But Wallace doing a nice job running the floor and corralling another rebound.
South Carolina's got to continue to explore the inside. They got the ball down inside that time to Wallace. Just get to the area. This time to Kinsey.
And Antoine Kinsey, the junior from Kansas City, Kansas, with his first field goal. And Rocky Trice a little overzealous. He saw a steal opportunity. It's been all Gamecocks early. 1:43 to go as we return on this New Year's Eve. And again, Happy New Year to everybody out there. And we hope if you're out on the road tonight, you travel safe. We take a look at Coach Dave Arden, and boy, he's done an outstanding job. And every stop along the way in his career, the reigning SEC Coach of the Year, multiple-time ACC Coach of the Year, did a wonderful job at East Carolina back in the late 70s and early 80s before leaving to go to the University of Virginia, and really built Wake Forest and put it on such firm footing. And Lane, I have a feeling that you know a little bit about his credits.
Well, what I do know is that he was very, very hard workers, and he did do a phenomenal job at Wake Forest, taking over a program that was not in great shape and building it into a national power. Skip Crosby has done a great job of continuing that, and he's working on doing the same thing here at South Carolina.
Well, I'm just glad he's won a lot, because I'm sure that man, he came home and was pleasant to you.
I prefer to win, so to say that. And I'm sure my mom did as well.
19-4 lead for the Gamecocks, Greg Taylor. And finally, from beyond the arc, we mentioned Greg Taylor, a young man who started his collegiate career at the University of South Carolina, starting tonight his first start of the season. And that is the first three-point conversion by the Terriers.
Well, I think they'll settle down a little bit offensively. They look a little more comfortable in that possession.
Antoine Kinsey, again, this is a young man who only spent one semester at Allen Junior College.
Boy, I know Odom would love to see him get one, because he can give them a low post presence that they just haven't had consistently this year.
Well, he's done a terrific job coming off the bench rebounding. He's second on the team behind Carlos Powell, rebounding the basketball. That shows he's a hard worker, because his minutes have been very limited to average. The number of rebounds he does is under 18. Taylor goes to work on Baughman, gets up in the air, and Sam Daniels. We're going to take a look at the first conversion lane from beyond the arc by anybody on the Wofford team, and it's Greg Taylor.
Well, nice ball movement, little flare screen on the inside, screening the defense. Greg Taylor taking advantage of it, getting his feet set, driving up through the ball, knocking it home.
And we've got more college basketball coming up on CSET next Friday. Campbell and Gardner-Webb. The Camels challenge the Gardner-Webb Bulldogs. Can the Bulldogs make a run for the conference crown? They will start that attempt at earning that crown next Friday on CSET, 9:30 p.m. for a little Atlantic Sun Conference basketball.
Walker back in the zone now. Going to force South Carolina to play for the perimeter.
Daniels is able to convert on both of those free throws and cut the lead. Really run right now. A 5-0 run by the Terriers. You mentioned their ability to make runs at the end of a number of games earlier this season. Josh Roller trying to touch it on the line. Daniels quickly on the other end with the left hand is too strong, but tips it back up. Good work. Second effort by Daniels.
South Carolina trying to get into the press, but couldn't quite get into it. Good job by Wofford, looking over the top there. For Daniels at the other end, wide open.
Kinsey gets in the lane, and he can't finish. But Kinsey, with the offensive rebound, not a lot of conversions from beyond New York tonight, but he'll have been certainly line a couple of games ago. Rocky Syracuse responded, and he has knocked down one of the 2 threes for the Gamecocks tonight.
Well, he just had so much basketball, hopefully he doesn't that quickly, says that there are going to be great things to come from Rocky tonight.
Well, he was a junior college All-American. And because of his size, athleticism, the multi-dimensional ability that he's got to follow guns like that, but also with the left hand to hit that perimeter jumper. And right now he's only playing 60 minutes. Those minutes expected to go up, particularly now as he's in the starting lineup.
No question about it. And if they can get Antoine Kinsey really comfortable, and most of the time, junior college players will take about half a season to get them completely adjusted. So I think his emergence could be a big thing for this team.
As this is going to the bench, and John Chapel, the senior, is back in. Another turnover
got to get rid of it before that trap comes.
And Brent Taylor got trapped on the sidelines and turned it over.
Good aggressive penalty defense there by South Carolina. Had him on the sideline. Brent Taylor trying to get rid of it quickly.
That's the 6th turnover for the Bears. It feels like they turned it over more.
Those set plays for a lot there. Good job by Connor Kendry. Just bring it down, bring it back out.
Chapel with the offensive line, taken away by Stevens. We got a quick look at that turnover graphic. Tied at 6, but it seems like the turnovers have hurt Wofford more in this first half. And Howard Wilkerson is getting doubled. Mike Young before the game talked about turnovers being a big factor when the coach really needed to value every possession and not turn it over a lot.
And I think that's true for both teams, but particularly Wofford, because of the defensive style of South Carolina defense.
The shot clock is at 5. We got an offensive foul.
And that's what their defense does here. They start looking around the perimeter, almost running from the traps, running from the pressure, as opposed to looking at the basket, looking to attack the basket, going at the heart of the defense.
And Byron Field didn't like that call. It was clear that he pushed off on Josh Garner and got that offensive foul. Oh, that was Tim Clockerty. And that's a familiar name in officiating circles and certainly in coaching circles. The son of John Clockerty.
He's a terrific official. He's been around for a long, long time. One of the first officiating names I can remember.
Carlos Powell has been quiet of late, but not anymore. He gets to win. He's 4 for 4 from the field. They almost get the turnover.
But South Carolina Tech clearly told the players, attack the rim, get the ball inside, don't settle for jump shots just to put water down the goal.
Taylor again, he drives the lane. Nice rebound by John Chapel in limited minutes. He's done a nice job off the bench tonight. Donner looks like he might have taken some steps. And he got that, so he'll put it up and he will get nothing but the bottom. And Mike Young is going to send a 30-second timeout.
South Carolina is looking very, very composed and confident right now offensively. Very aggressive defensively on the other end of the floor.
So it's interesting talking to Coach Dave Odom earlier this afternoon. He didn't really know what to expect, not only about this game. They lost a heartbreaker the other night at Pittsburgh. And 48 hours later, they're playing a very dangerous team, but they responded very, very nicely. And Mike Young couldn't wait for that under 4 timeout. We mentioned Bobcat basketball. Of course, you said we go home for Bobcat basketball. And the Bobcats still looking for that first win on the road. Nothing tough. Won't be easy tomorrow night. And this might be Phil O'Neal. And January 2 mentioned the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Cleveland Cavaliers. Great news. Certainly great news. Here that LeBron James is going to get fitted for one of those Spark Classic masks. And it looks like he'll be able to play on Monday.
That's great news for everybody because he's a heck of a lot of fun to watch.
It's a good way to wrap up your New Year's Day with a lot of football and a little Bobcat basketball. Mention the Heat, they won 13 games in a row. 3:27 to go. It's been all Gamecocks in this first half. 30-11, they got a 19-point bulge. We'll come back with more college basketball on CSET right after this. 3:27 left as we take a look at Mike Young, the very young head coach of the Wofford Terriers. The young man who we mentioned has been in there for 16 years, his third year as the head coach. And Lane, you know, having been in the coaching business, it's a quirky time of the year. If you don't play in any of these holiday tournaments, you mentioned he was the best dressed assistant in 01. Now, I know that you must have gained some honorable mention attention. I mean, you must feel slighted. I know you were Mr. Blackwell.
Well, if I did get any notoriety for my dressing, I certainly didn't hear about it.
It's tough. They have had a 12-day layoff between their last game and overtime loss to the University of Georgia. And they have practiced, but you can't practice like you play. Carlos Powell at the nice inside feed to Bachman.
Great execution there, right out of the timeout. It's a sign of a well-coached team. You come out of the timeout and execute right away. I mean, the players are paying attention.
Almost another turnover. Stevens does a nice job of recollecting. Daniels thought about it. We're looking for anything positive to take into the locker room at halftime. Daniels will try it again from beyond the arc, and he's strong. And Howard Wilkerson with the offensive rebound.
Once again, Wilkerson just can't get free inside. And as I say that, they get it right back into him. They need to score twice, just like they did. Go inside, when it comes out, go right back in there to him.
Terrific catch by Wilkerson right there, and he used the rim to ward off Bachman, and he gets his second field goal.
Wofford still sitting in the zone.
And South Carolina is going to take their time with offensive possessions with this 19-point lead. And Josh Garner, that's another Garner.
Boy, I'll tell you what, sitting out that one game may have done wonders for him because he looks really comfortable, really confident right now.
He had a little trouble after the East Carolina game. It was an internal issue, and Coach Odom decided that, why don't you think about things, and he let him think about it by sitting out a game. And Rocky Trice did a nice job in his absence, and everything has been resolved, and he responded very nicely on the road at Pittsburgh the other night with 15 points.
And he has great positive energy right now. You can see he's got a smile on his face. He's communicating with his teammates.
Dwayne Day, the freshman out of Tampa, Florida, pardon me, out of Mount Vernon, Georgia, has checked in for the first time tonight. Wilkerson again on a nice feed from Daniels, but he can't convert.
Well, they are trying to get the ball in there to him, but you got to credit South Carolina defense right now.
Carlos Powell is looking for Wallace on the lob. And Carlos Powell is like a live wire.
He's got a tremendous amount of energy, especially at home. He can ignite the crowd. He can hit the three-point shot. He can make athletic plays. They really need his energy.
Stevens, good feet underneath. And that's the third time in a row that they've been able to get the ball into the low block to Howard Wilkerson.
I have a feeling that Mike Young addressed that at the timeout. Let's continue to pound that thing in there and wear him down. And his team is responding.
They're facing a 20-point deficit right now. Wallace tried to get it to Powell, and Gibson knocked it out of bounds. We'll take another look. They're able to get the ball, at least they have, Lane, the last couple of possessions to Howard Wilkerson.
And Howard Wilkerson just never stops working. He continues to post. He uses his body. He has very good feet. That time he got a great angle and was able to score the basket.
And he's showing very good hands. Some of those catches have not been easy.
Absolutely.
Great Kelly with 2 on the clock, puts it up, a high archer.
Well, that's a backbreaker for Wofford right there. He played very, very good defense. That's why Trey Kelly.
And Stevens doesn't hold for the final shot, and Wallace on the block. And South Carolina will have an opportunity with 9.1 to get the final shot of this half. A very good half. Dave Odom didn't know what he was going to get. He didn't know emotionally and mentally and physically what his team was going to be able to give him tonight, but they have responded and currently lead by 22. shot for 4.5 straight. Kelly using the screen from Wallace. And Powell on the fadeaway. And that's about the way it should be. It has been all Gamecocks in this first half. Carlos Powell, 5 of 6 for him from the field. We've got halftime activities coming up from the Colonial Center here in Columbia, South Carolina. The Gamecocks leading the Wofford Terriers by 24. It has been all Gamecocks tonight on this New Year's Eve edition of college basketball on CSET. Halftime activities coming up next. We welcome you back. Halftime here. It's been all Gamecocks 39-15 at the half. They lead the Wofford Terriers. And, of course, tonight we wrap up our college basketball for all four. But it'll start all over again. A huge month of college basketball in January right here on CSET Lane.
Well, it's going to be phenomenal. A lot of great teams around the country, and you can see that there's so much parity right now.
Well, there really is. And, of course, the Charlotte 49ers, who just won a tournament out in California, will take on East Carolina. That game will be next Saturday night. East Carolina has really struggled in the non-conference. Charlotte got through the non-conference with 2 blemishes and 2 losses that certainly were gut-wrenching, but they head into conference play feeling very good about themselves. Everybody knows about what happened at Indiana. And of course, Eddie Baston, the Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year last year, one of the most complete players in the whole Conference USA.
He's very, very complete. He can shoot the ball from the three-point line. He shows great athleticism. And there you see Brendan Plavitt, who has unbelievable range. Much like Terry Gannon back at NC State. Remember that name?
Oh, no question about it. I think Plavitt, when he steps in the building, he feels like he's in range. You will also see Charlotte late in the month against Marquette, a Marquette team featuring Travis Diener, who's had a terrific career there. Davidson and Furman. Davidson has played a very, very competitive non-conference schedule. And Brendan Winters, a lot like his old man Lane, he's not afraid to fire from downtown.
He's got terrific range. They have great chemistry as a team. Obviously very well coached with Bob Mitchell. Great continuity in that program right now. They've hit the national scene.
Winthrop, another team that is pulled off a shocker. A lot of these mid-majors have done some damage in the non-conference. Winthrop, you'll see them late in the month against High Point. Southern Miss and Charlotte. Southern Miss, interesting. Larry Eustachy back in the college game.
Terrific coach from out of the Big 12. Was at Iowa State and is now down at Southern Miss. Expect great things from that program.
It's going to be a great month of college basketball here on CSET. We wrap up 04 tonight. 05, of course, starts tomorrow. We'll be back with more halftime activities right after this. We welcome you back. Halftime activities continue here from the Colonial Center in Columbia with the Gamecocks a big lead. We're going to take a look at our first half stats and our leading scorers. It has been all Gamecocks, as we pointed out, and they've shot the ball extremely well late in this first half.
Really been extremely patient on the offensive end. credit Trey Kelly, as we talked about early in the telecast, about getting the ball to the shooters, exploring the inside, taking control of the offense.
And also, you look at those points off turnovers, 11 points off turnovers, pressure that they wanted to get. It was something they emphasized in their shoot-around earlier today, and Wofford got off to a horrific start. You notice 0 for 12 to start the game. As we look at the leading scorers, Josh Garner off the bench, Carlos Powell doing what he always does, and not much from Howard Wilkerson.
Well, Howard Wilkerson has continued to work hard, but South Carolina's done a terrific job of making the game chaotic. They've made it hectic. So therefore, Wofford hasn't been able to get the ball to him the way that they like to. But he continues to work. They did pound it into him a little bit late in the half, and he was able to get a couple of looks.
They're going to need one of those patented runs like they usually get at the end of half to start this second half. We'll be back with halftime highlights right after this. Taylor. We welcome you back. We're almost set to the second half here from Columbia. Before we get to the second half, first half highlights. And this is a half that was really dominated by South Carolina. And I'll tell you how good our crew is, Lane. They found Wofford highlights in the first half, and we're going to look at those and certainly look at a lot of highlights from South Carolina.
Well, they did have very few highlights, but I look for them to come back in the second half and really execute much better. Right here you see Howard Wilkerson making his way to the rim. That's what he does best, get to the rim. They've got to get him in better position. Greg Taylor right there sticking the only three-point shot they hit at a half. And there's Wilkerson again slicing underneath and scoring a basket. Trey Kelly has shown terrific patience. Rocky strikes right there, getting to the rim as he does so well off offensive rebounding. Josh Goddard, potent three-point shooter, good patience right there, playing with a lot of energy right now.
Well, they really play with a lot of energy, and in that package, you saw that rejection by Powell, and this was the shot right before the half. He really set the tone at the beginning of the half, or the beginning of the game with that block, and that was the exclamation point at the end of the half with that field goal. He had a very efficient 10 points, 7 rebounds for him. And if you're Mike Young, Lane, you're going at the half down 24, you're on the road, what do you say?
Well, you talk about each possession. You talk about getting control of the game, whether it's through getting control of the tempo or getting the ball where you want it offensively, which would be in Howard Wilkerson's hands, maybe even more than once on each possession, because he's getting the double team, he's having to kick it out. They may want to go back into him on the same possession.
This is a team that comes into tonight averaging a little over 82 points a game, and Mike Young trying to get that crew fired up. They are shorthanded. We pointed out right off the top, and it bears repeating, that they come in here without Tyler Bird, one of their primary front court reserves, and also Eric Marshall, the guard, the sophomore guard who's out with the flu. Neither one of them was able to even make the trip. So they are shorthanded off a 12-day layoff. Meanwhile, South Carolina, 48 hours after a heartbreaker on the road at Pittsburgh, really responded very nicely in that first half.
Well, they're starting man-to-man. It looks like they're going to take an aggressive approach this half coming out of the locker room. They sat in the zone all night long.
Trey Kelly has been really even-keeled all night long, and I know that's what Coach Adam is looking for. Carlos Powell, almost too easy. He fumbled the ball, was able to recollect, and that is his 6th field goal on 7 attempts.
You can just see Trey Kelly thinking about his teammates. Where do I need to get them the ball? What kind of tempo do I need to play at?
Byron Fields answers on the other end off the glass. And for Fields, that was his first conversion on 4 field goal attempts.
That was a higher percentage shot. Wofford's going to have to get higher percentage shots than they got in the first half. I really like the communication of the South Carolina players right now, whether it's eye signals, hand signals.
Al misses the 15-foot face-up jump shot. Fields gets a little bit too deep. Almost turns it over. We're going to have a tie-up. And all night long, Wayne, it's been Carlos Powell. Nobody has been able to stop this man.
And he hasn't forced anything. He's made all the right plays. Right here he is, attacking off the dribble, getting the ball to the rim. You can't get a more high percentage shot than that one.
We had a timeout called on that tie-up. So with 18:36 to go, these two teams will take a seat. Carlos Powell, 6 of 8, got a lot of had 6 rebounds in the first 7 minutes of his basketball game tonight. Already, Lane, he has been voted the SEC Player of the Week on 2 separate occasions.
He has really grown as a player since his initial arrival in South Carolina. He's getting better and better every year.
We mentioned how we wrap up the year tonight, but college basketball will continue next Friday night. Campbell and Gardner-Webb, Atlantic Sun basketball at 9:30 on CSET next Friday night. Can the Bulldogs make a run for that conference crown? Well, we'll start that run. At least they hope to. Start next Friday night. And just to point out, the night after, on the 8th, you got East Carolina at Charlotte. We went through the schedule in January. It's going to be a great month for college basketball on CSET. And we take a look again at Mike Young and his crew, and he's a fiery guy. Again, how do they get back in it with a team that you know is going to be very deliberate on the offensive end?
Well, if they don't stop them on the defensive end, they won't get back in it. So defense is where they're going to have their opportunity, and that's not giving up that shot that Carlos Powell just got, which is a wide-open, uncontested layup. They've got to make everything difficult for South Carolina on the offensive end. Then they're going to have to be almost flawless on the offensive end. The way to do that is get the ball inside to Howard Wilkerson, taking advantage of every open opportunity on the perimeter. They've got to play really well each possession right now to get back in this ball game. The defense is where it starts.
And Sam Daniels, who has been their primary three-point shooter this year, the big man, the 6'9" forward, is yet to convert from beyond the arc. He leads this team with made threes and attempts, with 18 made coming in. Wilkerson tried to get it to Daniels. That ball was picked off, and South Carolina's got numbered, and Trey Kelly will go all the way to the rim.
Great decision, great decision. He looked the defender off, looking as if he was going to pass the ball. The defender bit, and he finished the play. Three-quarter court pressure right now. Looking for traps in the corners.
Adrian Borders. Wilkerson tempting he might have gotten a double team. Daniels again, and finally the big man is able to bury his first three of the night. And he cuts the lead to 23.
Great vision that time by Wilkerson to find him all the way across the floor. Sam Daniels gets his feet set, steps up into it, knocks it down.
Kinsey a little strong on the runner. There's Goddard with the rebound on a terrific block by Sam Daniels, and Carlos Powell thought he got fouled. And Greg Taylor's able to convert on the other end.
Right now, Carlos, he probably did get fouled, but what he's got to do right now is move on to the next play. You can't dwell on it.
Here's Kinsey in the corner. And you mentioned you saw it. Daniels might have fouled Carlos Powell. Let's take another look at this.
We clearly raked him on the arm right there, but at the same time, that's going to happen in games. You cannot let it affect the next play. Carlos, you got to get back in the action.
Yeah, and Wofford took advantage. You saw Greg Taylor converting on the other end. Trey Kelly getting into the paint, kicks it back out to Kinsey, who fumbles the ball, and Goddard's able to reclaim it. And Wilkerson with the steal, leads it ahead to Adrian Borders, who drops it back. Fields can't convert. Up again, Wilkerson knows. One thing must be said about these Wofford Terriers. Despite the deficit, their effort to start the second half has been outstanding.
And that's how they're going to get back in the game, with effort, determination. They've got to toughen this thing up a little bit. It's been too easy for South Carolina at this point. There you see him in transition, really getting down the floor. Nice unselfish pass to Wilkerson there.
And the firing Mike Young.
Well, regardless of what happens right now, Mike Young wants his team to compete, and that's just what he just saw in the last two possessions here from his team.
And Dave Odom, the coach of South Carolina, has used a 30-second timeout. Was certainly something that happens a lot to teams that go into halves with big leads. Complacency to start the second half. And I don't know that the South Carolina has necessarily been complacent, but certainly Wofford has come out here with a great deal of energy.
Well, things have come so easily to this point for South Carolina, much because of their defense. Their defense has been terrific. It's ignited their offense to some degree.
It is New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Means Bobcat basketball. We will have Bobcat basketball tomorrow night for you on CSET against the Miami Heat. Shaquille O'Neal, Dwayne Wade, coming off a West Coast trip where they did not suffer a blemish. As Fields converts on that first free throw.
You think Shaq will get double teamed, maybe?
Possibly. An opportunity for Emeka Okafor to see the biggest man in the league. He has been outstanding. And Fields converts both free throws. A 52% free throw shooter, so he's improved his percentage by knocking both of those down. And Wofford shows some traffic.
Mike Young is sending his team after South Carolina right now. They're going to try to make this a game.
Fields aggressive, knocked that ball out of bounds.
You can see him almost gaining a little bit of confidence right now.
Kinsey gets to the rim. A very athletic play by Terrence Kinsey.
Good recognition there by Josh Donner. Saw Kinsey cutting to the basket. Once again, they're in that three-quarter court trap there where they're trying to trap the ball as it comes over half court in the corner.
Roberson almost got double. Kinsey trying to get back. Adrian Borders a little long on the three. And Carlos Powell almost had his shorts taken off of him. Feeds it to Josh Garner. Powell with the left hand is fouled by Sam Daniels. And Sam Daniels, he was awfully close possibly. Get the New Year's Eve technical. We're going to have a timeout. 45-24, the Gamecocks lead with 15:46 to go. We'll be back with more action from Columbia right after this. Welcome you back. A youngster enjoying New Year's Eve at the Colonial Center here on the campus of South Carolina. I don't know that she's going to see midnight. She's going to take a flyer and say no.
I would say that my little girl will not see midnight tonight.
I doubt she'll see midnight, old-timer.
You're right about that.
As we come back here, Carlos Powell's going to go to the line for a couple of free throws. And we certainly hope you're enjoying, as a little appetizer on your New Year's Eve itinerary, some college basketball. South Carolina, we mentioned both of these teams have really suffered some heartbreak early in the non-conference season. And, of course, South Carolina will wrap up the non-conference schedule tonight as Powell converts on his first free throw. Combined, they've lost 6 games by a total of 20 points. Now, I'm not a mathematician. That's just a shade above 3 per game.
Well, they've shown some really positive signs early on. South Carolina just needs to get over the hump and win a big game. They played really well at Kansas, really well at Pittsburgh. Here they are in full court pressure.
Adrian Borders, great speed underneath the Taylor, can't convert. And Sam Daniels there to clean up on the offensive glass.
South Carolina so close to getting one. Couldn't quite come up with it. Wofford, good job converting.
Josh Garner gave a good offense and great energy in the first half. Now again trying to work Trey Kelly. Back out to Terrence Kinsey, who pulls up for the 15-footer, barely draws iron. Wonderful job by Wallace to save it. And since that touched the iron, they can reset. And all night long, pressure has been a big part of the story, Wayne. They have turned over the Terriers repeatedly.
They have, and what they've done is they've made it a very hectic, chaotic game like we talked about. That's not what Wofford is used to. They're used to setting that thing up in the half court and really executing, getting the ball to where they want it every time down the floor. credit South Carolina with changing up defenses, making it a bit of an unorthodox game.
Well, we have a stoppage right now. I know that I think they were checking to see if that shot drew iron and to see whether the reset was correct, and they have determined that the shot did not hit the rim. So South Carolina with 15:01 to go on 11, as opposed to getting a reset, will inbound on the baseline. Trey Kelly working, gets into the lane, and he's able to finish.
He can really score the ball. Where he's going to charge that time. Nice job by the Wofford defense. And Trey Kelly was able to avoid the charge and put it in the basket.
Trey Kelly's third field goal. He's got 6 points to go along with 4 assists. Exactly what this coaching staff at South Carolina wants. Just being balanced and making good decisions with the basketball.
They showed a certain amount of connectedness offensively throughout this game.
Gibson misses a three-point attempt. And Trey Kelly, you talked about him right off the top lane. He is such a key to their success, and right here he gets into the lane and finishes.
He's just maturing as a point guard, and he's doing it on the job out here, playing against tough non-conference teams. But you can see him growing into the job.
He was certainly, he comes from an area that knows how to produce tough-minded guards. Stevens right then fouled Donner on the jump shot. Justin Stevens, the senior out of Newman, Georgia.
They talked a lot about Josh Garner, and I'm talking about the coaches, about him getting more elevated on his jump shot, coming off harder off his down screen, looking for his jump shot quickly. That time he came off the down screen, off of a set play, was ready to knock it down, but he was fouled in the process.
This will be Josh Garner's first free throw attempt of the night. He is an 83% free throw shooter. And Daniels will check back in for Howard Wilkerson. Again, these front court players, without the services of Tyler Bird tonight, really having to do yeoman work. As Antoine Tisby checks back in, he did a nice job off the bench in the first half. Made both of his field goal attempts. Donner's got one more. And the lead is back out to 25 at 51-30, 51-26.
Man's pressure, probably going to jump in the backcourt for a trap.
And Gibson got the look ahead. Stevens hits Daniels, and Sam Daniels is not able to convert, but he'll go to the line.
Good job by Gibson that time, recognizing the double team coming, looking up the floor and finding an open player.
Ronaldo Bachman on the foul. And that is his first. Sam Daniels, the senior, out of Asheville, North Carolina. He hasn't gotten on the line much for a guy 6'9". We talk about his ability to shoot the three. That's only his 7th attempt. He had 6 attempts coming into this evening. And he's only a 42% free throw shooter.
Well, that is surprising that he's a poor free throw shooter to this point, because he's such an effective three-point shooter.
Actually now 3 of 4 from the line tonight. And Wofford will slap on four-court pressure. Trying to do anything to make a run. Trey Kelly's able to collect. Hal does the wise thing when you've got a lead like this. No need to be hasty. Kelly in the lane. Hal with the offensive rebound. And they're going to call a tie-up, and the possession error is going to favor Wofford. The animation on Carlos Powell, and it's positive animation. He's just got great energy and enthusiasm playing this game.
He really does, and it really ignites his team from time to time. It ignites the crowd, and it's fun to watch. Hey, it's New Year's Eve, you're playing basketball. You might as well have fun, right?
You see, he's always smiling, always animated.
On that last possession, Trey Kelly attempted a little teardrop shot. A little Mark Jackson. Didn't quite get it to go down, but he drew the help, and Carlos Powell was able to get in there and get the rebound.
And certainly with guys like Tisby and Powell on the floor, you know you've got an opportunity for an offensive rebound. As Gibson feeds it down to Daniels, working on Carlos Powell, using that right hand little jump hook. And Tisby doing what he does well, rebound the basketball.
He can really snatch some boards, and he did a really nice job when he came in and played against Kansas in his home state in a really tough environment. Snatched some tough rebounds.
Austin all the way to the hole, and he's stripped by Wilkerson. And Gibson's going to push. He'll go all the way to the rim, and he's able to finish.
Ronaldo just hasn't really gotten into the offensive flow tonight. I think he just wanted to make something happen. Might have been a little anxious right there.
And that was Gibson's first. You know, Rocky Trice is going to check back in for Ronaldo Bachman. It's going to be a tough time of the game for coaches, particularly the winning coach. Your crowd is kind of settled in to having this big bulge, and you know that Dave Odom wants to maintain the energy level in this building.
You just got to continue to coach each possession, and that's what you'll see out of both coaches.
Turnover, Adrian Borders mentions his athleticism, and all Southern Conference triple jumper. Justin Stevens misses on the three. Kelly again doing the wise thing and pulls it out. Look at the turnovers. Wofford has really settled down. A lot of early turnovers. They've done a better job of valuing and possessing the basketball in the second half. Rocky Trice gets Stevens in the air. The ball's going to go out of bounds. South Carolina's going to maintain possession. They got a 22-point lead with 11:54 to go from the Colonial Center in Columbia. Back, you get a look at Dave Odom. Sitting on the end of the bench talking to Ronaldo Bachman. After tonight, this will wrap up their non-conference schedule, and they will head to Lexington, Kentucky to take on a team who last year's SEC tournament took it to the Gamecocks.
Well, they did. It was a competitive game, but Kentucky pulled away late. They're a great team, great program. Tough test for South Carolina early in their conference schedule.
You got to see Eric Daniels. They don't have his services. He is gone. But if you look at South Carolina's upcoming schedule, and it's really balanced with home and away games, but really starting the non-conference schedule with a team like Kentucky. But maybe better to get them early than late. They've got a lot of young guards, and they, of course, they had that somewhat controversial win at Louisville. They're a team that we know, Tommy Smith's team, always get better as the year goes along.
They really do. I saw improvement from the North Carolina game. I happened to catch both games. They improved from the North Carolina game earlier in the year to the Louisville game.
Tisby isn't able to convert, but Rocky Trice, his second offensive rebound stick back. And for Rocky Trice, he's got 7 tonight on 3 or 4 shooting. Third is standing. The Terrence Tisby is going to the locker room. So he is back on the bench now. I think
South Carolina is man-to-man right now.
Now will be some credit South Carolina defense and not allowing him to really get going tonight.
You can see he's got 2 or 3 guys around every time he touches the ball.
Daniels again from beyond the arc is able to convert his second three-pointer of the evening, and he leads the Terriers with 13.
The Terriers could get a little more of that. They could loosen things up inside a little bit for Wilkerson. But until they show that they're going to knock down that 3-point shot consistently, he's going to be hounded in there.
Now again, making a wise decision, 21-point lead. Trey Kelly has done an outstanding job. Rocky Trice thought about it. Tisby from 15 feet. Hit nothing. Donna tried to save it.
Probably not the shot they necessarily want. They're really doing a great job, South Carolina.
And certainly no give up on the part of the Terriers Jiu-Jitsu. He played a lot of minutes tonight. The freshman out of Los Angeles cuts the lead to 19. And still there is more than 10 minutes left in this game. We talked about their ability to make runs. It's been customary early in the year for them to make them in the first half, only a huge one here in the second half. Josh Garner from beyond the arc. Nice block out by Daniels, but Price is able to reclaim. What a terrific look. And Trey Kelly's going to be denied the stat-sheeted attempt. They give it to him anyway. As Josh Garner just says hello to the entire Wofford staff. And that Wofford staff, they will get ready to go into conference play. Well, after they play Erskine, they'll head into conference play in a league that really has tremendous balance. It should be a terrific, competitive year for Southern Conference basketball. A lot like the football season. Great football for the Southern Conference this year. Basketball should be no different.
Well, absolutely. And you look at Furman, who's coming now. Another team in the state of South Carolina. Talk about College of Charleston, who's always very, very good. Davidson, tremendous team. East Tennessee, got into the tournament, actually played them very toughly.
Adrian Borders from beyond the arc is too strong. You see the athleticism of Rocky Trice, he can just get up off the floor. Tisby going to work on Daniels off the glass. He's got it, will go to the line.
Really pretty good defense that time by Sam Daniels. He used his body, maybe score over the top, but just a terrific move by Antoine Tisby right there. Good, aggressive, low post move.
And for Sam Daniels, that is his second personal foul. Pardon me, his third personal foul. In talking to Coach Odom earlier this afternoon, one of the things that he spoke about is finding another low post presence on the offensive end. We know that Al can get it done. Wallace needs to put some weight on. Tisby could be that guy.
Well, Wallace has played more facing the basket, or seems more comfortable facing the basket. But you're right, Tisby's the guy that needs to emerge from the low pass.
Garner, he's going to take it all the way to the rim and foul and he'll go to the line for a three-point opportunity.
Well, that's not wrong. They got the ball in the basket. They got it in there. Nice, strong, aggressive drive, but just could not finish the play.
Josh Garner, who has come off the bench in the last couple of games, responding to some discipline. He takes it all the way to the rim.
Looks like a different player right now.
Josh Garner and Sam Daniels is going to take a breather, and boy, does he deserve one. Without the services of Tyler Berg, again, he twisted his ankle in practice yesterday, did not make the trip. Garner, an outstanding free throw shooter, three-point play, and pushes this lead back out to 26. They just won't allow the Terriers to make a sustained run to get themselves within shouting distance. Taylor, back out to Gibson. Taylor will attempt the three-pointer. He's strong. And Rocky Trice go out with the rebound. South Carolina's it's been a lot of one and done for Wofford all night long.
But that time they really did try to work their offense. They got to continue to try to do that each time down the floor, not get discouraged.
Sinsky again, a little block, can't convert. Wallace, once, twice, 3 times is the score.
The South Carolina has really addressed their rebounding to this point. That's an area that they've been really concerned about, the coaches. They've done a nice job of it tonight.
Well, Wallace has done an outstanding job. He's got 9 rebounds on the evening, and the lead is 28. Pushing it. Why not?
Well, they took advantage of the Wofford defense. Wasn't quite back. As you mentioned, Gary, they're having to play extended minutes because of the injuries.
And I think Terrence Kinsey figured, you know, why not just play a joke on the announcement? I'll just change my jersey. And he suffered. He had some blood on his jersey. As it matters, it's been all Gamecocks tonight from the Colonial Center. Welcome back, 65-34, the Gamecocks. It's been all Gamecocks tonight with 15 to go, and college basketball will roll on in the month of January in the next game, next Friday night. Atlantic Sun Conference matchup between the Campbell Camels and the Gardner-Webb Bulldogs, 9:30. 9:30 next Friday night, the next game. We take a look now at Sam Daniels, Sam Daniels, we mentioned in the first half, suffered an ankle injury in practice. 20 minutes between his injury, Tyler Berg was injured, and Berg didn't even make the trip, and now Daniels looks like he is done for the evening. And they have foul trouble to boot. Howard Wilkerson is saddled with 4. And Byron Fields commits the foul on John Chappell. And the Gamecocks are in the bonus. Now, this is surprising, I'm sure, for Terrier fans, because with the way that they have played, and the Gamecocks really have put this game away, it appears, with this 12-2 run in the last couple minutes. Their 3 losses, Lane. They lost to 3, lost by 3 to Miami, a team that beat the University of Florida, lost to Tennessee by 6, and lost to Georgia by 2 in overtime. Combined 11 points in 3 games.
And you don't do that if you're not a very, very good team.
Now, as a coach, John Chappell, is this someone that you would take under your wing and say, son, we need to maybe work on this motion? I want you to take a close look at John Chappell and see if there's anything that you would change.
Some players have certain strengths, some players have other strengths.
He's somewhat like the Jim Furyk of free throw shooting, is what you're saying.
Well, they got him in. He was a big banger, tough, physical kid. He's very, very hard worker, excellent student. And his dad was a great player at Wake Forest, Lynn Chappell.
No question. And you ask him who the best player he ever saw was, he will say, Len Chappell.
He better say that.
Well, now when I ask you who's the best coach you ever saw, are you looking across this floor?
I'll let you just take a guess.
Taylor off the glass is no good. Wilkerson still working hard. He gets it up on the rim, and that foul is going to be called on Carlos foul. We're going to have a technical foul as well.
And that's where Carl's emotion, sometimes you don't want it to move into a negative area. And right there, he got hit with a technical foul. But he's an emotional player.
He is trying to wave off the substitution. There wasn't a lot there. There was a little bump by Wilkerson as he was making his way to the free throw line. And you mentioned Carlos Powell's emotion. He responded with a little tap back. It wasn't a violent tap.
Well, you got to give credit to Howard Wilkerson in there, continuing to work hard. Obviously, down by a lot of points right now, but continuing to go after it on the offense and defensive end. He's a warrior. He'll be heard from again, especially when you get conference play.
And Powell's taking a seat on the bench, and I think they might have whistled a double technical. I think they might have whistled a double technical. If that is the case, Howard Wilkerson is fouled out, and that's the reason why he left the foul line. He would have gone to the line as a free throw shooter, but by virtue of that double technical, he is fouled out. And Stephen McDowell, the freshman out of Indianapolis, Indiana, is checked in to shoot these free throws. 67% free throw shooter coming into this evening.
Well, Mike Young right now is faced with a difficult situation in this game because he really has a very limited low post presence right now, and they're not used to playing
without that. Carlos is evidenced by, as competitors say, that he is going to continue
to get as much out of this final 6:43 as he can. They challenge themselves. If you look at Wofford Lane over the last 5 years, as a matter of fact, you go back a couple of years, in 2002, 2003, their non-conference schedule was ranked #1 in toughness of all the
327 Division I programs. He is not afraid to play anybody. Well, he knows he wants to play against the best. He knows that's going to strengthen his team, it's going to toughen his team. He's going to challenge his team to fight every single night, regardless of the circumstances.
They're continuing to do tonight in a very difficult situation.
Well, they've really run the gauntlet. I mean, they have played.
They know more about the SEC East than the SEC East does. They played 3 teams from the SEC East, not to mention beating a team from the SEC West. Yeah, very difficult. The tempo line is not converted by Byron Fields. This is an opportunity for guys like Stephen McDowell. You can get to extended bench before heading into conference play.
But continuing to execute, get the ball down low, high percentage shots.
Tonight has got to be very encouraging for Dale. Because he honestly, and you know him, he's an honest man, he really didn't know what he was going to get from that Green basketball team. He's gotten him to respond very positively 48 hours after that tough loss. And we'll take a look again at John Chappell, the senior avenue runner in Wisconsin. Nice little jump hook right here.
Nice jump hook. Excellent feed there by Tidby. Tidby right before it. Kicked it out of the double team. Nice job sharing the ball. Good finish by Chappell.
You're hoping in the case of Wofford that the ankle to Sam Daniels is minor. And you hope that the injury to Tyler Bird is minor. And obviously Eric Marshall, he's suffering from the flu. So you expect him to be back for the next game. Because I think that they have shown that they're going to be far more competitive in the Southern Conference than the folks who predicted their finish before the year began.
Well, to put it in perspective, too, you're talking about the second smallest Division I school playing against teams like South Carolina, Auburn, Miami on the road.
Now, do you think that Tim Clockery was discussing where they should go in 5 points after this game? Well, I don't know exactly what was going on. As Wayne Day fouls Borders. And the next foul will result in a bonus for the Terriers.
Mike Jones looking to see what his team is made of right now. In a very difficult situation. Lopsided score at this point.
Mentioned his athleticism. Young man has got to the NCAA regionals as a track athlete. This institution, Wofford, is really one of the finer small liberal arts schools. It's actually the second smallest Division I school in America, playing athletics at the level that they play it at. Their SAT score on average is actually higher than the total enrollment of the school itself. 1247 for the SAT, 1100 for the entire student body. Coach Dave Adam goes, it's about time.
Well, what he's watching right now is
How is my team going to execute? Especially at this time of the game. They've got a little experience. The team just travel. Stuck underneath the basket. And the Terriers are going to take possession.
You mentioned getting something out of it, certainly the extended minutes.
Tonight for Drew Gibson, a freshman out of Los Angeles. Greg Taylor getting his first start and shot the ball great. Gibson in for the corner hard.
That offensive rebound, he's fouled by Rocky Trice. So he'll go to the line.
And they are now in bonus. Continuing the battle. They want to continue the battle. Try and execute. Every time
on the floor. Value possession.
John Chappell will take a seat as he is done. Paulus Unolonis is in the game. And I hate to admit this, but I mean, we've got to be honest.
He overslept for sure.
He's kind of like you, Wayne. Showed up about an hour late for sure. Now, he had talking to by the head coach. Did you? Well, you know, the head coach getting back to the house later tonight. He thinks I'll blame it on my wife and daughter. I think it was an honest mistake. He walked in and screwed around at about 11:45, and that looked like, uh-oh. And he did have a nice little talking to by his head coach. But not disciplined to the point that he missed anything at the end of this game. So, yeah. One day again.
Lawrence.
Right there, young Lawrence. Nice pitch. Look at bouncing. We got 3:59 to go. The game has been dominated by Gamecocks. We'll be back to the wrap. Basketball. We got New Year's Day basketball tomorrow night as the Bobcats travel to Miami to take on the Heat and Shaq, and of course Wayne Wade had a tremendously successful West Coast trip for the Heat. Tough assignment. Then Monday, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it appears they will have the services of LeBron James at the Charlotte Coliseum. Of course, tickets 704 Bobcats. Look for Shaq Food, Shaq Daddy, Shaq Diesel. More Diesel. You're a Diesel guy, Shaq Diesel. I'm more of a food guy. I'm a Shaq food guy. I think you heard that. Really, gotta be good. Yeah, they listened to it back now. A couple years ago. I wouldn't encourage that. This will be the first 1 or 2 from the line.
USA. And we've got Marquette on C-Step later next month, which will, it's soon to be next month. Byron Field can't finish.
And Rocky tries to make a loose ball. Kisby gets it off to McDowell. Everybody in this field wants to convert from the field. It was a little long on that one. A little too much sleep, maybe. Fresh legs.
You would know that.
Adam Sheen is in the game. And Rocky Trice. Nice job by Greg Taylor hustling down the break. John Lane is going to have an opportunity to get this game. And Rocky Trice's e-game is done. Take a look at this steal by Rocky Trice. He got that offensive rebound dunk in the first half. But we're on energy all night. Yeah, the coaches were talking about him at the shoot around. About how instinctive he is defensively,
How he gets his hands on a lot of balls. They like to have him in the game at the end.
Well, Lawrence
again, looking to work in the paint. A little strong. Pretty nice move for the big man. He's got nice skill. He's got good footwork, nice skill, good hands, got a chance.
Good player. Well, Coach Odom has been unbelievably
Successful tapping into the foreign market in his coaching career, getting Wake Forest. And he's doing it here in South Carolina. John Lane gets his first rebound. Senior that Wilson Salem. Santiago was pretty good. Darius playing the second line. Ricardo Brown. Rafael Figueroa.
go to the line.
He's a 41% free thrower. You really want your point guard to be able to hit those free throws, especially in close games. You're going to need it.
Hard trying for the offensive rebound. Good hustle. But that ball will go over to South Carolina as his body was on the
baseline. Actually, going to South Carolina, I think, called a timeout, and Coach Oden says, you know what, some people might have some New Year's Eve activities to get to. We don't need that timeout. Let's just play on. It's pretty safe in this building, though, right? I'll say that. Plenty of time to celebrate this. Well, we certainly encourage everybody to enjoy your New Year's Eve activities and do it responsibly. And we look forward to 2005 on the set. We'll get Bobcat basketball tomorrow night. And again, Monday night, 7:30 tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on Monday. LeBron James and college basketball continues next Friday.
with Gardner Webb.
Taking on Campbell, of course, Charlotte and East Firefield gets the steal. They don't give her the other end. Firefield has played a lot of minutes tonight. Has not had a good night shooting the basketball. 2 of 10. That's what Mike is looking for right now. Bubbles late, and Fields continues. He looks like he'll get another way in. He doesn't get up. Curtis Ingram, the sophomore from Youngstown, Ohio, gets his first field goal. And Gary Conference USA, he says during a lot of the games, it's going to be a very, very competitive conference national. So many different teams.
John Land trying to get in the book.
Definitely now can't convert. And Ingram again on the front. McDowell's going to score again. You're absolutely right by Conference USA. And you think about the dynamic play of Cincinnati, and Louisville, and DePaul, and Marquette leading the league, and we're going to change people Charlotte on the 8-10 next year, along with St. Louis. They're going to get somebody wants to get last licks in. Because it has been a great league since it was formed. But it's a shame
To see it break up because it has such a strong national presence right now.
and the team did mention that it hasn't gone the way that they would like to up to this point, but has the potential to get there. It's John Calipari's team out in Memphis. So, you know, there's
Unbelievably deep league. How about UAB? The run they made last year.
getting into the LA tournament. I think they're the wild card because the best player is obviously had some problems with the head coach Sean Banks. And then another team that
Really has been unbelievably successful since Mike Anderson got there as UAB. So it's going to be a great year in conference.
because, and of course, the Southern Conference has shown, I've heard you what they've done in the non-conference against a lot of name opponents. That it will be a great year in the league as well.
We're winding down here.
Here, from the Colonial Center, very good effort and great response by the Gamecocks tonight. Currently up by 31. And really, I think the most shocking thing is the fact that Wofford, a team that averages 82 a night, it was a contrast of styles. South Carolina, very good scoring defensive team. And they imposed their will defensively, putting on Howard Wilkerson. Well, they absolutely definitely did early in the game as they imposed their will defensively and made it a hectic game, as we talked about. They controlled the tempo. They were very uncomfortable for Wofford. Wofford never was able to get into the rhythm. A rhythm that they found so quickly and easily this year. Well, for Coach Oden, really a happy new year. He was genuinely and sincerely excited about this game because of how competitive Wofford has been against Miami, Tennessee, an overtime loss in Georgia. And I think another part of the anxiety might have been the fact that he's got a 3-year-old son who's probably going to look for a leave after this game. That's absolutely going to happen, but he won't be cooking for you. Frisbee trying to get more points on the board. He does. And the other 12 times
right after this. We welcome you back.
76-44 is your final tonight from the Colonial Center. The Gamecocks wrap up their non-conference portion of their schedule this year. With an impressive win over the Wofford Terriers. Next up for the Gamecocks.
For the University of Kentucky, that game will be in Rupp Arena as we get a look at a very happy.
After lead, Dave Odom coming off a very tough loss on the road at Pittsburgh 48 hours later against a team that's been ultra competitive.
And tonight, the Gamecocks, they made a statement early and did an outstanding job on Howard Wilkerson, and they come away with a very impressive 32-point win over the Wofford Terriers, who've got one more non-conference game before they will head into conference play in the Southern Conference. And for South Carolina, if you look at South Carolina, their non-conference schedule, certainly disappointment. You know there was
Disappointment with Pittsburgh and Kansas, but they've got to be encouraged with where they're going, and certainly they know where they're going. They're going to Rupp Arena. We're going to throw it over to Lane Odom with the winning coach who looks a little bit like him.
And also Carlos Powell. Take it away, Lane.
Carlos, I want to ask you about your defense tonight. Terrific defense. What are some of the things you worked on in practice leading up to this game after
A tough game against Pittsburgh on the road.
Trying to get the whole stretch, stop the main guys, and that's what we came out tonight and did. Very tough on those defense and, try to create some turnovers.
I noticed
Offensively, you guys really moved the ball well, showed great patience. Was that something that you focused in on coming into this game?
Yeah, we did that a lot in practice also. We got a lot of different guys that can score. And Josh kind of came on, terrific tonight. And, I just tried to do my part, just try to fill in as we go.
terrific game. Played with great energy. It was fun to watch.
All right, Coach Odom. I want you to talk about Trey Kelly. I thought he really played well tonight. Showed great patience. What were some of the things you were talking to him about going into this game?
Well, I think it's important, anytime you win a game like Wofford, point guard being able to control the tempo, really important. And I think Trey played a very selfless game tonight. Took himself out just to make sure that we stayed in offense, didn't take any bad shots, did not turn the ball over. And I think, by and large, played really solid defense.
I thought defensively you really made the game a bit chaotic. Was that something you were looking to do intentionally?
Well, actually, early on, we wanted to just set down on them and make sure they got no easy shots. They're an excellent three-point shooting team tonight. They didn't have their game with them, but I think you got to give our team a lot of credit. I think we took the Wofford team out tonight a little bit.
Maybe more than they expected. Maybe the layoff hurt them, I don't know. But I think our traps early on were good. I think they turned the ball over, and I think it
maybe cost them a little level of confidence.
One thing I noticed that you have been thinking about a lot is rebounding. And it looked like you had a nice night on the glass.
We did. We had a much better night than we did have. I think Brandon Wallace, for all his offensive woes, did a really good job on the defensive boards. Carlos Powell played a great overall game, and I thought we got a lot of help out of our wings on the boards as well. Long shots, long rebounds, our guards, for the most part, ran the ball down, got us ignited the break, such as it was.
Any New Year's Eve plans tonight?
I've got some of my family in town. Maybe may have a chance to take them out tonight. They're paying.
I'll look forward to that. I'm going to send it back to you, Gary. Contest. The better looking Odom was on the left. We're going to come back and we'll have some final thoughts and we'll put a wrap on this one from Columbia and the Colonial Center right after this.